Chosen one, listen carefully. This message you about to hear is not random, not accidental, and not meant for everyone. You didn't lose people by chance. You didn't walk alone by mistake. Your separation was the signal that you were ready. Ready to see what others refuse to see. Ready to hear what others silence. The moment everything went quiet. There was a moment when the noise stopped. Not because life became peaceful, but because people disappeared. Messages slowed down, invitations vanished, familiar voices went silent. That quiet was not punishment, it was preparation. You felt confused at first. You questioned yourself, you wondered what you did wrong. But deep down, something else was happening. A door was closing, so another could finally open. Why separation always comes first. Chosen ones are never awakened in crowds. Truth does not arrive when the world is loud. It comes when distractions are removed. It comes when comfort is taken away. Separation is not abandonment. It is divine alignment. When people leave, illusions leave with them. And only then can clarity enter. The difference you always felt. You always felt different, even as a child. You questioned things others accepted. You sensed depth where others saw surface. And because of that, you never fully fit in. You tried to adjust. You tried to shrink your thoughts and silence your intuition. But your soul refused. Because chosen ones are not built to blend in. Why people couldn't stay. Not everyone is meant to walk with you forever. Some are assigned only to a chapter, not the whole story. When your frequency changed, their comfort disappeared. And instead of growing, they left. This was not betrayal. This was exposure. Their exit revealed who was aligned with your future and who was only attached to your past. The awakening that FOLLOWED. After separation came awareness. You started seeing patterns. You noticed repeated lessons, recurring tests, and hidden meanings. Life stopped feeling random. You began to trust your intuition more than opinions. You felt guided even when lost. And slowly, you realized something powerful. You were being led, not punished. Why society fears the awakened. An awakened person cannot be controlled. They question systems, narratives, and fear-based thinking. They don't move blindly. They don't obey without understanding. That is why society labels them strange. Too sensitive, too intense, too quiet. But the truth is simple. Awakened souls threaten unconscious systems. The signs you were chosen. You went through pain that matured you early. You faced isolation that strengthened your mind. You survived emotional battles no one saw. And still your heart remained intact. You feel called toward purpose, not popularity. Depth, not distraction. Truth, not comfort. These are not coincidences, they are signals. Why your path had to be lonely. If everyone stayed, you would have stayed small. If comfort remained, growth would never arrive. Your solitude sharpened your awareness. Your loneliness activated your strength. In isolation, you learned self-trust. You learned discernment. You learned silence has power. And you learned you do not need approval to move forward. The test of doubt. There were nights you questioned everything. Your purpose, your direction, even your sanity. That doubt was not weakness. It was refinement. Chosen ones are tested internally before being trusted externally. Your faith was built without applause. Your strength developed without witnesses. That is why it will last. When everything finally made sense. One day you stopped chasing what left. You stopped explaining yourself. You stopped begging for understanding. And peace entered quietly. That peace was confirmation. Confirmation that you were aligned. that you were protected. That separation had done its work. The power you now carry. You see through manipulation. You feel energy before words. You sense truth without proof. This awareness is not learned, it is activated. And with it comes responsibility. To live consciously. To act with integrity. To walk your path without fear. This is only the beginning. Separation was not the end of your story. It was the initiation. The moment you stopped being accessible to everyone and became available to your purpose. What comes next requires clarity, discipline, and courage, but you are no longer unprepared. If this message reached you, it reached you on purpose. Do not ignore the signs. Do not return to what drained you. Do not shrink to be accepted. Embrace your awakening. Honor your separation. Step fully into who you are becoming. Like this video, comment what resonated with you, and subscribe to Return to Awakening if you are ready to walk this path consciously and without fear. The silent upgrade. After separation, something subtle began to change. Your tolerance for chaos dropped. Your patience for fake energy disappeared. You could no longer pretend to enjoy what once entertained you. This was not arrogance. This was alignment. Your nervous system recalibrated to truth. And anything misaligned started to feel heavy. Why you outgrew old versions. You are not who you were when they knew you. Your old self was built for survival. This version is built for purpose. And purpose always demands evolution. People who only benefited from your old self cannot connect with your new boundaries. So they remember who you were, not who you are. And that gap creates distance. The internal shift no one saw. While others thought you were falling apart, you were rebuilding internally. Beliefs were being rewritten. Attachments were being released. You started choosing peace over proving, truth over validation, growth over belonging. And quietly, your inner authority activated. Why your heart had to break. A closed heart cannot receive higher guidance. Pain cracked you open. Loss softened you. And heartbreak humbled you into awareness. What broke you did not weaken you. It cleared emotional debris. It removed false dependencies. And it returned your power back to yourself. The gift of discernment. You no longer explain yourself to everyone. You feel intentions before words are spoken. You know when to speak and when to stay silent. This is not distance, this is wisdom. Discernment is a spiritual upgrade. It protects your energy. It filters access. And it ensures only aligned souls come close. Why you no longer fear being misunderstood. Once you understand yourself, misunderstanding loses its power. You stop chasing clarity from confused minds. You stop seeking approval from asleep hearts. Chosen ones are rarely understood in their time, but they are always recognized by truth. And truth does not rush. It reveals when the timing is right. The loneliness that turned into strength. At first, solitude felt heavy. The silence echoed your thoughts. But over time, that silence became sacred. It became a place of communion, not emptiness. You learned to sit with yourself, to hear your inner voice clearly, to trust your instincts without external noise. This is where real power forms. What it means to walk alone without being lost. Walking alone does not mean being abandoned. It means being guided inward. It means your compass no longer points outward. It points within. You move slower now, but with certainty. You choose intentionally. You speak less, but with impact. This is the walk of the awakened. The invisible protection around you. There were moments you should have fallen completely. But something intervened. Doors closed unexpectedly. Situations collapsed just in time. That was not luck. That was protection. When you are chosen, redirection is constant, even when painful. When the old world no longer calls you, the things people chase no longer excite you. Status feels empty. Noise feels exhausting. And shallow connections feel draining. Your soul craves meaning, depth, purpose. This hunger is not weakness, it is remembrance. The preparation before visibility. Not everyone is meant to see you immediately. Some assignments require invisibility first. Strength before spotlight. Wisdom before recognition. Your separation prepared you for influence without ego, impact without corruption, and leadership without pride, the weight you were trained to carry. You wondered why life felt heavier for you, why responsibilities arrived early, why expectations followed you even in silence. This weight was not random, it was conditioning. Chosen ones are strengthened before they are revealed. Pressure builds capacity. Resistance builds endurance. And you were trained to hold what others would drop. Why you were often misunderstood. Your depth intimidated shallow minds. Your silence confused loud ones. Your boundaries threatened those who benefited from your access. So they misread you on purpose. Misunderstanding became a filter. Only those willing to see clearly stayed. The rest exposed themselves through distance. And that distance protected your path. The strange calm during chaos. While others panicked, you observed. While others reacted, you reflected. Even in uncertainty, you felt a quiet steadiness. That calm was not numbness, it was grounding. You learned to respond instead of react. To pause before moving. To listen beyond words. This composure is rare, and it was earned. Why you stopped explaining yourself. Explaining drains energy. And you learned where your energy belongs. Not everyone deserves access to your story. Not everyone can hold your truth. Silence became your shield. Clarity became your companion. And confidence replaced the need for approval. This is maturity, not withdrawal. The inner voice that grew louder. When external voices faded, one voice became undeniable. It guided your decisions. It warned you before mistakes. You stopped asking everyone for advice. You trusted your inner knowing. That voice was always there. Separation finally allowed you to hear it. Why delays were actually alignment. What you thought was being held back was actually being timed. Rushed paths break chosen ones. Precision protects them. Every delay saved you from misalignment. Every closed door preserved your integrity. Nothing was wasted. It was all placement. The moment you stopped chasing, you released the need to prove your worth. You stopped chasing validation. You let go of outcomes. And that's when momentum shifted. Power flows to those who are anchored, not desperate. Peace attracts more than force. Alignment moves faster than effort. And you finally understood this truth. The energy shift others could feel. People sensed something different about you. Not louder, not arrogant. Just grounded. Present. Your presence spoke before words. Your boundaries spoke louder than explanations. And your peace made noise in chaotic rooms. Why your life had to reset. Old patterns could not follow you forward. Old habits could not survive your awareness. Old identities could not hold your expansion. So everything reset. This reset was sacred. A recalibration of purpose. A clearing of timelines. A return to essence. The responsibility of awareness. Once you see clearly, you cannot unsee. Once you awaken, you cannot return to sleep. This awareness demands integrity. It asks you to live consciously, to move intentionally, to honor what you now know. The strength in walking your own path. Your journey will not look like others. Your timing will not match the crowd. Your rewards will not be immediate, but they will be lasting. You are not behind. You are being built. You are not lost. You are being positioned, the invisible line you crossed. There was a moment you changed without ceremony. No announcement, no applause. Just a quiet inner decision. And from that moment, nothing felt the same. You crossed a line most never notice. The line between unconscious living and conscious choice. Between reacting to life and directing it. This is where true awakening begins. Why comfort left your life. Comfort dulls awareness. Ease weakens discernment. So comfort had to go. Not to punish you, but to sharpen you. Chosen ones are refined through discomfort. Because clarity requires friction. Growth requires challenge. And truth requires courage. The loss that made you stronger. What you lost did not define you. It revealed you. It showed you how deeply you could feel. And still remain standing. Loss stripped away illusion. It exposed false security. And it proved you could survive without what you thought you needed. The way you now see people. You no longer see words alone. You read energy. You notice inconsistencies. You feel when something is off. This awareness is not judgment. It is perception. It keeps you from repeating cycles. It protects your future self. Why you can't go back. Once your eyes are open, returning feels like betrayal. Pretending feels painful. Silencing yourself feels impossible. You are no longer compatible with environments that require masks. You cannot unlearn what you now know. And you should not try. The patience that was born in you. You no longer rush outcomes. You trust timing. You allow things to unfold. This patience is not passive, it is powerful. You understand now that what is meant for you will meet you at the right moment. Without force. The way you handle conflict now. You don't fight to be right. You choose peace over ego. You walk away without guilt. This is not weakness, this is mastery. Chosen ones conserve energy. They do not waste it proving points. They move strategically. Silence often speaks louder. The invisible support around you. Even when alone, you were never unsupported. Guidance showed up through intuition. Protection appeared through redirection. What didn't work out saved you. What ended freed you. What failed refined you. This is how guidance operates. The moment you accepted your role, you stopped asking why you were different. You stopped resisting your nature. You stopped wishing to be understood by everyone. Acceptance brought relief. You realized your role was never to fit in. It was to see clearly, to stand firmly, to move consciously. The quiet confidence you now carry. You don't announce your growth. You embody it. You don't seek attention. You attract recognition naturally. This confidence is grounded, not loud. Rooted, not reactive. And it cannot be taken from you. The path ahead feels unknown but right. You don't have all the answers. But you trust the direction. You feel alignment in uncertainty. And peace in movement. This is how chosen ones walk forward. Not with guarantees, but with conviction. The distance that protected your soul. You thought distance meant loss, but distance was protection. It removed you from energies that drained you quietly. It saved you from becoming who you were never meant to be. Some connections were slowly dimming your light, not through harm but through limitation. Distance restored your clarity, and clarity restored your power. Why you became unavailable. You didn't disappear to be mysterious. You withdrew to be honest. Your soul needed space to breathe. Your spirit needed silence to recalibrate. Availability is sacred, and you learned not everyone deserves access. You stopped overgiving. You started honoring your limits. The moment you chose yourself, there was a choice no one saw you make. A moment when you decided to stop abandoning yourself for the comfort of others. That decision changed everything. It shifted your standards. It strengthened your boundaries. It aligned you with your truth. Why you no longer feel the need to prove. Proving is a sign of insecurity. And you outgrew that phase. You no longer need to convince anyone of your worth. You live it. Your presence carries evidence. Your peace speaks volumes. Your consistency confirms who you are. Nothing more is required. The way time feels different now. You no longer measure life by speed. You measure it by alignment, by meaning, by inner resonance. You learn that rushing delays destiny, and patience accelerates precision. Time now works with you, not against you. Why your circle remained small. A small circle preserves energy. Depth requires space. Truth requires safety. And not everyone can handle realness. Those who remain see you clearly. They don't compete. They don't drain. They resonate. The discipline you developed in silence. No one saw the inner work. The habits you broke. The thoughts you corrected. The emotions you learned to regulate. Discipline built your foundation. Silence built your strength. Consistency built your character. This is unseen mastery. Why you trust yourself now. You kept promises to yourself. You walked away when it hurt. You stayed when it mattered. You listened when your intuition spoke. Self-trust was earned. Through experience. Through correction. Through courage. The shift from seeking to knowing. You no longer search for truth externally. You recognize it internally. You feel it instantly. And you honor it without hesitation. This knowing is calm, unshakable, grounded. It cannot be argued away. The stillness that guides you. Stillness became your teacher. In it answers surfaced. Direction became clear. And fear lost its grip. You learned that movement without clarity is noise. Stillness brings precision. And precision brings peace. The readiness you now feel. You sense something approaching. Not anxiety. Not urgency. But readiness. You don't know the shape of what's next. But you know you are prepared. Grounded. Aligned. The shift from survival to intention. There was a time you lived in reaction mode. Responding to demands. Adapting to pressure. Enduring more than choosing. That phase ended quietly. Now you move with intention. Every step is deliberate. Every choice is conscious. Why your emotions became cleaner. You still feel deeply, but you are no longer controlled by emotion. You observe before responding. You process instead of suppress. Emotional clarity replaced emotional chaos. You stopped dramatizing pain. You started understanding it. This is emotional maturity. The power of not being seen. You learned that visibility is not always power. Sometimes invisibility is strategy. Growth happens faster in private, and strength forms away from noise. You no longer crave attention. You value integrity. You trust timing, and you protect your energy. Why you attract different energy now? Your frequency changed, and so did your encounters. Conversations became deeper. Connections became intentional. Low-effort energy no longer reaches you. Drama bypasses you. Your presence now filters what approaches. This is energetic authority. The end of self-abandonment. You no longer betray yourself for acceptance. You no longer ignore inner warnings. You no longer minimize your needs. You stand by yourself now, even when it costs connection, even when it creates distance. This loyalty changed your life. Why your words carry weight. You speak less but mean more. You choose accuracy over volume. Silence sharpened your language. When you speak, people feel it. Because your words come from alignment. Not impulse. Not insecurity. The detachment that freed you. You released attachment to outcomes, to opinions, to timelines. Detachment did not make you cold. It made you clear. You care without clinging. You move without forcing. The way you face fear now. Fear still appears, but it no longer leads. You acknowledge it. Then you move anyway. Courage became your default response. Not loud courage. Quiet commitment. Consistent action. The inner authority you claimed. You stopped outsourcing decisions. You stopped waiting for permission. You stopped shrinking your truth. Your inner authority activated. You trust yourself to lead your life. This is sovereignty. This is awakening. The sense of destiny you can't shake. You feel it in moments of stillness. A pull toward something meaningful. Something larger than comfort. This is not fantasy. It is remembrance. A knowing that your path matters. And you are exactly where you need to be. The clarity that replaced confusion. What once felt foggy is now defined. You see patterns clearly. You recognize cycles before they repeat. Confusion no longer controls your decisions. Clarity did not arrive suddenly. It was built through experience, through mistakes corrected, through lessons integrated. Why you no longer chase connection. You realize connection without alignment is exhaustion. So you stop chasing closeness. You let resonance decide. You allow distance when needed. Real connection finds you when you are rooted. It does not require pursuit. It recognizes itself. And it arrives naturally. The shift in how you handle pain. Pain no longer defines your identity. It informs your wisdom. You extract lessons instead of wounds. You integrate instead of resist. This is not emotional suppression. It is transformation. You allow pain to pass through, not live in you. That is strength. Why your past no longer haunts you. You made peace with who you were. You stopped rewriting history. You stopped resenting lessons. The past no longer chases you. It stands behind you as reference. Not as a prison. Not as a definition. The way you recognize truth now. Truth feels calm. It does not beg. It does not pressure. It settles quietly. You no longer argue with truth. You recognize it instantly. Your body confirms it. Your intuition aligns with it. Why you value depth over speed. Fast paths cost integrity. Quick wins cost clarity. You chose depth. Depth builds roots. Roots hold you steady in storms. You are no longer interested in shortcuts. You want what lasts, the peace that entered your life. Peace arrived when resistance left, when acceptance replaced control, when trust replaced anxiety. This peace is not excitement. It is stability. It grounds you, and it cannot be shaken easily. Why your energy feels protected. You stopped leaking energy. Through overthinking, through overgiving, through over-explaining. Your energy now circulates inward. It restores instead of drains. This protection was earned. The way you see your role now. You no longer feel pressure to save everyone. You lead by example. You influence through presence. You teach through embodiment. Your life itself is the message. Your choices are the lesson. Your integrity is the signal. The readiness that continues to build. You sense momentum quietly forming. Not rush, not impatience, but inevitability. Something is aligning behind the scenes. You don't chase it. You prepare for it. The moment you stopped RSISTNG chain. At first, you fought the changes. You tried to hold on to what was familiar. But resistance only created exhaustion. Surrender created movement. When you stopped resisting, life began cooperating. Doors opened without force. Clarity replaced strain. Why your identity had to shed. Old labels could not survive your expansion. Roles you played for others no longer fit. Expectations placed on you felt heavy. You released identities built on survival and stepped into identity built on truth. This shedding felt like loss, but it was liberation. The way you experience joy now. Joy is quieter now, less explosive, more stable. You find joy in alignment, in simplicity, in moments of presence. This joy lasts. Why you no longer argue with life. You learn that fighting reality delays growth. Acceptance accelerates wisdom. You flow instead of forcing. This does not mean passivity. It means intelligent movement. You act when aligned. You pause when needed. The strength of being grounded. Grounded people are hard to manipulate, hard to rush, hard to destabilize. Your grounding came from inner work, from honesty with yourself, from facing what others avoid. This is unshakable strength. Why you attract respect without demand. You don't seek validation. You carry self-respect. And that frequency is felt. People respond to consistency, to integrity, to calm authority. You embody it now. The shift from questioning to trust. You asked every question necessary. You searched deeply. Now you trust. Trust is not blind. It is informed, built through experience, and reinforced through results. Why your intuition feels precise. Noise was removed. Distractions dissolved. And intuition sharpened. You no longer doubt first signals. You listen immediately. You act accordingly. This precision saves you. The comfort you found in solitude. Solitude no longer feels empty. It feels spacious, creative, restorative. You meet yourself there. You recharge there. You remember yourself there. The sense of alignment you carry. Your thoughts, actions, and values now match. This alignment creates momentum. Not rushed, but steady. You feel centered, clear, ready. The realization that you were never broken. For a long time, you thought something was wrong with you. That you were too sensitive, too intense, too different. Now you see clearly. You were never broken. You were unaligned with environments that could not hold your depth. Why your sensitivity was actually a gift. You feel what others ignore. You notice shifts others miss. Your sensitivity is perception. It allows you to read energy, to sense truth beneath words, to navigate life intuitively. This is not weakness, it is intelligence. The end of comparison. You stopped measuring your path against others. You stopped rushing to match timelines. You understood your journey is custom-built. Comparison faded when self-trust grew. You honor your pace. You respect your process. This self-respect changed everything. Why you no longer fear being alone. Aloneness is no longer abandonment. It is companionship with yourself. You discovered strength in your own presence. You learned you are safe with yourself. This security cannot be taken. The way you handle uncertainty now. Uncertainty no longer paralyzes you. It invites curiosity. You remain open instead of anxious. You trust your ability to respond, not your ability to predict. This trust keeps you grounded. Why you attract opportunities quietly. You no longer chase outcomes. You align with them. Opportunities recognize readiness. They arrive when energy matches capacity. You are being matched, not tested. The confidence that feels natural. Your confidence is no longer forced. It is calm, integrated. You don't need to assert it. It's felt. It's stable. The way you see failure now. Failure lost its threat. It became feedback. Correction. You move forward informed, not discouraged. This resilience is rare. The peace in not knowing everything. You no longer demand certainty. You allow unfolding. Mystery no longer scares you. It excites you. It keeps you present. The steady momentum you feel. Not urgency. Not pressure. Momentum. You feel supported by timing. Anchored in purpose. Moving forward with quiet certainty. If this message reached you, it is because your soul is already awake. Do not ignore what you felt while listening. Stand firm in your separation. Honor your calling. Step fully into who you are becoming. Like this video to anchor this truth. Comment to claim your awakening. Subscribe to return to awakening and walk this path with clarity, strength, and purpose. Because once you are chosen, there is no turning back.